Good morning, guys. It's November the 4th. No, it's November 3rd. I'm sorry. And it's a balmy 27 this morning. And the winds are supposed to be out of the south. Like south. It's south-southeast right now, and it's supposed to be southwest once the sun comes up. So, I'm going to go back. This is the first time I've hunted the same general area the whole time I've been here, but I'm gonna go back where I saw that crazy deer yesterday, and I'm gonna push in about 200 to 300 yards further. I measured it on OnX, the spot I'd like to get to, and it's 320 yards, so it's almost like a totally different area probably, but it's a good basically the downwind side of a thicket again. I feel like if we keep doing that, there's so much big buck sign in that area, sooner or later we're going to catch up with one. But I'm going to give it one more hunt, and then we're going to start bouncing around again, because we're going to see a big influx of people coming up in the next few days. So I'm going to give myself a chance to get it done this morning, and then kind of cover some other areas. That way, if somebody takes over an area, I've got somewhere else to go. Time changed last night. It's about 5:07. We'll probably be a little late getting set up again, but that seems to work out pretty good, being able to scout the perfect, tree stand setup. So stick with me. Next time you see me, we'll be in a tree. Well, we made it in. This area looks really, really good, but it's so calm. My wind's just all over the place. The good area looks awesome. I pulled that camera I put up yesterday morning and had a what I would consider a shooter on it. A bunch of younger bucks, a real nice 2-year-old. I put it on a wide open hardwood ridge that had a lot of buck sign. I figured it'd be nighttime, and it was. It was only up about 15 hours. Probably had 5 or 6 different bucks. Now, the bad news is my wind is all over the place. It's trying to do what it's supposed to do, but there's so little wind that it's just swirling a little bit. I also had to put down way more ground scent through this bedding area than what I wanted to. I walked across 4 or 5 different beds. It just so happens there's a scrape right underneath the tree. I just picked this tree from a distance and got down here, and it had a scrape under it. And more bad news is I kicked a deer up out of here walking in. And a few minutes ago, I had a deer blowing a few hundred yards away up on this next ridge. I don't know how it could have winded me, but I guess anything's possible. It sounded like a big deer. So I don't know how it'll go. If the wind would just play nice, I think we could be okay. Either way, we'll sit here for a few hours, see what we can see. Oh, that didn't go well. With this wind, I haven't seen anything. And I know it's swirling around me. And I can't hear it that well. I was sitting there facing up the hill, and I heard definite footsteps behind me. I turned and looked, and I see legs like 20 yards behind me, headed right at me. And I scanned down, and there's a doe 5 yards from the base of my tree. Big doe. It was 2 adult does and a button buck. And you could tell they smelled me, ground scent or wind or whatever. And the wind was just swapping back and forth 180 degrees. But they wouldn't give up on it. They wanted to be right here. They wanted to be in this bedding area. They ended up swinging up the hill from me. One of them blew once and they took off. I wanted to take just a second to show you what this area where this trail camera looks like. You can tell it's just wide open oak ridges. And I think the reason the bucks are putting this here is because there's so many oaks, and there's more acorns right here than anywhere else I've seen. There's a lot of traffic of deer on this ridge at night. And I was anticipating it being at night, but I wasn't anticipating in 15, 16 hours to get that many bucks. But I'm about to check it again just to make sure nothing come through this morning. The scrape doesn't look like it's been hit since last night, but you never know. So let's see what we got. Well, we didn't quite make it to where I was wanting to. I was driving by this on the way there. It looked pretty good. Nobody was parked here. At the very least, I'm going to run through and scout it. There may not be any count. And if it's no good, then we'll turn around. We got enough time that if this isn't good, that should be able to go somewhere else. So I'm gonna put the camera up. It's just hard to carry a bow and a camera and have a stand on your back, but I'll get it out if I need to. Alright, I want to show you guys this before I climb up. So I didn't, obviously, like I said a minute ago, I didn't make it all the way to the spot I was going to. This spot looked good because there's some crop fields on all 3 sides. And I knew there was some pressure on down the road. And about the only way that those 2 guys that were sitting there this morning could push deer would be this way. So I'm hoping they stack those deer back closer to me. But I come through some pines and wide open hardwoods, and there was next to 0 deer sign. There was a few droppings and a few tiny rubs like this, like back from Velvet Shed or early October. But there was a little ridge, I don't really know what else to call it, with a big long point leading out to this one set of crop fields that I saw on the map, and that was kind of the way I wanted to work to. Once I popped up on top here and got to the mouth of this point, it runs down this way. There's some thick cover, looks like over here, and it looks like the rubs are coming out of the thick cover crossing over the point, or there's a saddle up here. It looked like some of the rubs are coming down the point. But as soon as I got up here to where I was wanting to get to, I saw a smoking hot rub, and it looks like there's other ones down through there. I resisted the urge to go off down that point. We may have to do that a different day, but the wind I've got right now is not good for it. I think this would be a better morning spot than evening, but what do we got to lose? We'll give it a shot. I don't think these deer have seen much for pressure yet. I've probably got 3 fields, 2 for sure crop fields within 3/4 to a half mile from right here. So let's see if we can get this hung. It's 1:36. I don't even know what time sunset is now. It's probably 4:50. Let's get this up. Well, I'm gonna make this quick because there's really not much to talk about. Tonight was a bust. I thought setting up that it was probably going to be more of a morning spot, kind of rut cruising from one bedding area to one bedding area, because there's some real thick cover on either side of that stand. And you may see me hunt it sometime in the morning in the coming days. I can get in there probably better in the morning than I could in the evening. So we may be back in there before it's said and done, but morning hunt, I won't be back in there again for an evening without maybe pushing closer to the crops or something. In the morning, I hadn't decided yet, but I'm leaning towards taking the kayak into that bedding area I found a few days ago, where I had the does come right by me on the ground and had walked up on those two young bucks sparring. That seems like it may be a good place to try. It's pretty easy access with the kayak. I can just take that kayak across that 20-foot wide river, and then about 150, 200 yards up in the woods, and I'm set up. So I'm gonna look it over. We'll definitely hit something new tomorrow evening. That's kind of gonna be my tactic, is hunt something that I'm at least have an idea of where I'm going in the mornings. If I have to, wait till it's starting to crack daylight or starting to get gray out when I'm heading in. That way I can see by the time I get where I'm going. I think that's a really good tip for morning hunts when you're kind of going in blind, is to you know, sacrifice that first 30 minutes. A lot of times if you hunt like I do, you end up hunting like the thicker cover, like the bedding areas and stuff, and in that case most of those deer are coming back a little later anyway, especially this time of year. It'd be different if we were hunting early October or something, but we're not. As far as where I hunted this morning, I think that's going to be the best chance at killing a good buck. I don't think we're going to kill a giant in there, but a really good, maybe, you know, 130 class deer. That's probably the best bet, but I'm going to give that just a little bit of a break and kind of chew on it a little bit. I need to put some more pieces together. This is where it's really nice to run cameras, to have a little bit of intel. Not only, the big thing for me is just knowing where a shooter is, you know. I want to shoot something that's 130 inches or better, and that's just not around every corner. But the one good thing about this time change is I'm getting back to camp at a decent hour, so I can cook some food and kind of get in bed a little earlier, but we do have to get up earlier, but I like that. being able to get back just a little earlier. Well, we're gonna make a decision. When I decide what I'm gonna do, I'll let you guys know.